of the Saints Insider channel, where I'll be covering all the Saints information, including the in-season, off-season, the draft, free agency, and then right here for the first video, I'll be covering the state of the Saints heading into the 2023 off-season, pre-combine, draft, and free agency. So our season ended a week ago. A tough way to go out, losing to the Carolina Panthers. But I think the season reflected a lot more than just that loss. I think that loss was minimal in the scale of things. First, let's talk about Dennis Allen. Many people have mixed emotions on Dennis Allen. I think he's here to stay, and I am a fan of him being the head coach of our football team. I think he started off shaky, which is understandable, him being head coaching it for the first time. But ever since the Las Vegas Raiders game, our defense has played absolutely elite. I have some stats right here. So in the Raiders game, we gave up 0 points. Ravens game, we gave up 27, which exposed our biggest weakness on defense, which is our rush defense, which is something we're going to and have to address in this offseason. In the Steelers game, lost again, gave up 20 points. Offense should be upgraded. Beat the Rams, lost to the Niners, 13-0. If we give up 13 points to an NFL team, we should beat them 95% of the time. And us scoring 0 points is unacceptable, and turnovers are a lot to blame for that game, including Alvin Kamara's 2 fumbles, one at the 2-yard line, which is terrible. Next, our worst loss of the season, which cost us our opportunity to go to the playoffs, the Bucs game, lost 16-17. Again, offense cost us down the stretch. Terrible play calling. Mark Ingram being allowed back in the game and then ultimately run out of bounds cost us the game on that one. And do not blame Dennis Allen for that one. Again, we gave up 17 points, 14 of those points in the last 3 minutes of the game. Unacceptable. We beat the Falcons, Browns, and we were able to close out the season strong with another win against the Eagles, which is by far our best win of the season. Proved a lot of people wrong. And if we didn't lose to that Bucs game, that game would have been a big chance of us making the playoffs. So I think Dennis Allen is a bright spot on our team, and our defense down the stretch played absolutely elite, holding defenses to minimal points, giving our offense favorable positions, and down the stretch, which is something we struggled in earlier in the season, we started creating turnovers. Eagles game, Marshall Lattimore pick 6. Panthers game, we also created turnovers. Browns, we went to the freezing weather and were able to beat the Browns in an environment that favored them by far. Now, something that does need to be addressed is our offensive coordinator, Pete Carmichael. He needs to be fired. Our offense played abysmal this year, and I don't want to hear Andy Dalton and Jameis at quarterback. No. Last year, Sean Payton finished 9-8, 4 different quarterbacks. We had Trevor Siemian, who was by far worse than Andy Dalton, and we won some games with him. We had Jameis last year. We had put Taysom in there last year. You name it, we played him at quarterback last year, and we finished with a better record than we did this year. Our offensive coordinator, Pete Carmichael, must go. My biggest thing with him is his inability to be consistent with the touches that Taysom Hill was getting on game day. When Taysom Hill gets carries, we have a much better chance at winning, and it was shown. Awesome stats right here. So in the Ravens game, when we only scored 13 points, Taysom Hill had 1 carry for 6 yards. Terrible. Still a game where we lost 20-10 by a team who was 2-6, and we were 3-6 at the time. We should have beat them. Taysom Hill had 3 rushes for 1 yard. Terrible. The game we beat against the Rams, we actually started giving Taysom Hill the ball again. He had 9 carries for 52 yards with a 5.8 yards per carry average. Amazing game. Niner game, Taysom Hill had 6 rushes for 13 yards. Yes, the Niners are a good rush defense, and I wouldn't blame that game on not giving Taysom Hill the ball. I would give that game to Alvin Kamara not being able to hold on to the ball. Next game, Bucs. Taysom Hill had 3 carries for 10 yards. We have seen how the Bucs have struggled with the rush defense, and giving Taysom Hill only 3 carries for 10 yards, especially on that 3rd and 1 play where we decided to throw the ball instead of run the ball. That is a prime Taysom Hill running situation. We've seen Taysom Hill do that countless times. How do you think we closed out the Eagle game when Pete Carmichael wanted to actually start using Taysom Hill. It's his inconsistency of giving Taysom Hill the ball that cost us many games this year. In our Falcons game where we won, Taysom Hill was involved greatly throughout the game. If you're not going to use him to rush, when he's in the game, that changes the defense's whole personnel, and their eyes are locked on Taysom Hill, which is creating opportunities for other people, which is shown through Taysom Hill had 2 passes for 80 yards and 7 times for 30 yards. And that he had a big play touchdown to Rashid Shaheed, which opened up the game for us completely. So, what needs to be upgraded this offseason? First, we know the quarterback situation. The quarterback situation is very tricky, and I think we are still struggling to find if we want to draft a quarterback or if we should just run it back with Jameis or try to go all in on a quarterback this offseason. Next is a backup running back. Alvin Kamara is most likely going to be suspended for the first 4 to 6 games next year with his pending court case. We don't know that for sure yet, but we want to be better safe than sorry because we don't want to have to lean on David Johnson and potentially Mark Ingram again next season. Next is the offensive line depth. We saw Andrus Peat go out this year. We saw Trevor Penning just have another serious injury. We're never going to have too much offensive line depth. We saw this year how we had to keep plugging in different linemen, and during the game, linemen would get hurt, so we had to shift a line over. We don't want to have to keep doing that. And then next, we have defense. I think we really need to upgrade our safety position. Marcus May couldn't play a full season this year. Tyrann Mathieu is getting older. Our biggest room for improvement, in my opinion, you could argue quarterback, but what cost us a lot of games this year was our interior D-line. We lost the Ravens, Steelers, and even the Panther game this last weekend because of the run defense. Our rush defense was getting exposed, especially in between the guards and center, right in the interior. We're getting exposed in the run game. So I think we should use a potential first-round pick and a Sean Payton deal to go after a defensive lineman. In the first round this year, I think Bryce Young is the only good quarterback to come out of the first round. And I think we would be stretching to draft another quarterback like an Anthony Richardson. I don't think his potential is as high as people see him. And a rushing quarterback in our offense, I don't think fits our system. We have Taysom Hill for that type of style. We need a quarterback who can pinpoint accuracy, get the ball downfield, and make good, smart decisions. We don't need a running quarterback who is looking to run first. That is not our offense. We have that with Taysom Hill, who can still throw the ball, so he's not one-dimensional. We need someone who can be Drew Brees-esque, not be his exact type of player because that's not going to be possible to find, but someone who can make decisions at the line, control the offense, make audibles, read defenses efficiently, and just make those easy passes. Someone I see in the draft that could potentially be this is Tanner McKee from Stanford. He's a 6'6" quarterback. I love the way he played, and he's that quarterback we need. He's a tall quarterback who we can develop if we get the right offensive coordinator, and I think that he is that quarterback that we're missing to go to that next level. And he's someone we don't have to spend a first-round pick on if we do trade Sean Payton, but someone that we can get in the second round, maybe even the third round, depending on how his combine and everything else goes. On special teams, I hate to say this because I'm a big fan of him, but I think Will Lutz, it's time to go for him. He cost us a lot of games this year. Way too many missed kicks from the Panthers game last week to even, it was a 60-yard kick, but that Vikings game, you would love to have a kicker who you can rely on like that. And he's just had a lot of missed kicks this year in critical situations that you can't have out of an NFL kicker. Kicker position is very fluid. You don't stay for very long, especially when you're missing kicks like he was. And I think if he wasn't that big name, he would have been gone a long time ago. And I think this offseason will be very interesting. We're still waiting for the Sean Payton information. We know that the Arizona Cardinals, Denver Broncos, and Houston Texans are inquiring about him. I personally think that the Denver Broncos will be his ultimate landing destination. But we'll wait to see that. In a little sneak peek into a future video, I think that the Denver Broncos trade package will include their first-round pick this year, which is from the 49ers. So it'll be most likely a late first-round pick, as you'll see in my playoff prediction coming up in a few hours. You'll see where I had the Niners finishing their season at. Also, their third and fourth round pick this year. I've seen other potential packages, including their second round pick next year since we don't have one because we traded to the Philadelphia Eagles. I personally think we're in more of a win now, so that fourth round pick could be more valuable. But if it was a first, third, and a second next year, I definitely wouldn't be mad at that at all. And yeah, I'm really excited to see what this offseason holds for us. We're in definitely a lot of salary cap trouble this year, so we're going to have to fix that like we always do. The GMs, the owners, they're perfect at doing that. They're definitely experienced at trying to fix our salary cap situation. And we have a lot of pending free agents that we need to make our mind up on, including Michael Thomas. We definitely need to bring back Juwan Johnson. We saw him break out this year. And our offensive core is really starting to develop. We have Chris Olave, who, in hindsight, we trade the 10th overall pick for, which I would do that again. Even this year's draft, that 10th overall pick for Chris Olave, to see how he performed last year was definitely worth it. We have Rashid Shaheed, who is our biggest breakout star of the year. Maybe second behind Juwan Johnson, who's a restricted free agent that we definitely need to focus on bringing back. And just make some key decisions on some other players and address that QB position. I think if Lamar Jackson is on the market, I would go all in. I know talking about a running quarterback, but I think Lamar can make those passes, and I've seen him make those passes, that I think you can get him at maybe a discount if you can argue that his injuries, maybe get him at a little bit of a discount, and I think he could be a great element for our offense to just add that big play potential. That's what Rashid Shaheed brought to our offense this year. He brought that big play potential, which we didn't have in years past. He brought that Deontay Harris, or Hardy, whatever you want to call him now, that big play ability that we missed. Rashid Shaheed in the return game against the Bucs, I remember he had some big return against the Bucs, and that just sparked our offense. We need those big play abilities, and Chris Olave is more of our secure guy, our possession guy, who get us 15 to 20 yards. But Rashid Shaheed gives that element of the big play, which moves that defensive back, moves the linebackers and everything back, so our run game can be even more effective. And stay tuned for some upcoming videos, including potential Sean Payton suitors and where we should head in the 2023 NFL Draft, assuming that Sean Payton is moved with the trade packages. Thank you guys. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys soon. Thank you.